going back to your point kind of about men's mental health and how, it can be difficult to speak up. I have a completely like alternate view on that. I think to be the strongest man possible, like I'd say to myself, like I couldn't, I think as men or as, whatever it is, if you're a masculine man or deep down, not that doesn't mean like a, egotistical like maniac.
Mhm.
I think like more of like divine masculine. I know it's new age spiritual to some people, that's too waffy, but what I mean by that is like, a man who's calm, collected, but also understands, certain roles that he may or may not have to pursue. If I want to be the best man possible, of course I want to get my ducks in order. If I want to have a child, I couldn't have a child in that state. Not that I want to have a child. Touch wood, that doesn't happen anytime soon. Not in a bad way. Just a bit too young for that yet, Elon.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like I'm not the best friend or the best older brother or the best son, that I could be right now. Not even the best coach. I'm none of those things when I'm in that state. If my bike or a car breaks down, I go to a mechanic. If I feel like I'm just out of shape, I'll go to like someone who helps me with that. They're all you as a man opening up and being vulnerable to the fact that I can't do this thing, or not that I need help with this thing. It's probably a better way of putting it. So why is there some block when it comes to what's between your ears? Well, it's because it's an invisible enemy. And if it's an invisible enemy, that means I can't prove that it exists to somebody outside of myself. If I can't prove it, then it's not real. But of course it's real. It's the most real enemy there is in your life. So you're completely fine, and I say this to men, with outsourcing other things to be able to help with. But the one thing that's most important, because you can't show it to other people. If I say I'm anxious as men, and I've had to learn to fight this as well, particularly years ago, until you experience, you understand. Oh, he's like, you almost dismiss it.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
that's our knee jerk reaction, which is mad, and we don't talk about that enough. Our knee jerk reaction is to almost dismiss the plight of other men.
Mhm.
So you have to really do a lot of work to be able to overcome that.
I think that's like your shadow presenting itself.
100%. It's like, oh, you're anxious and depressed. It's like, just do X, Y, and Z. Duh. But that's how we think as men, problem solution. But when this is a problem that there is no specific solution for, like, if you want to lean down, what are you doing? You're training more, you're increasing your step count, you're managing your calories.
Yeah. There's a
And you
structure of things you can
exactly, and
follow.
with a high degree of certainty that that's going to give you X result,
Mhm.
or within a small range, a margin there. Same thing with your car, same thing with whatever it may be. Whereas with your mind, I think one of the reasons as well is because there isn't a specific solution. It's very difficult
It's more like
for
a
men to apply.
process.
100%, because there isn't just do this and it's fixed.
Yeah.
So we get so frustrated at it by men that it just builds and builds and builds, and we never end up speaking about it. Whereas for me, I think it's the opposite. Like, if I don't speak about it, like, I think owning it, just like, are you not man? Like, then I can put it back and play into their own belief system and say, are you not man enough to own your problems?
Yeah. It's a true sign of strength to be able to take ownership of your problems. And that means actually allowing yourself to be open and vulnerable with it. Because when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you've, fully become comfortable with that. I don't know about you, but if this was me, if we were in like August 2018 right now, there is no way that I'd be talking about any of those things because I hadn't, accepted that at the time,
100%. Like, even maybe before like the end of last year or the 2020, I might have even like talked about all this stuff, because we all like this. Let's face it, like, this calling a spade straight. Like, all men, I will talk straight for men, but like, I'm talking about men right now. So all men have demons. They all do. So why not just talk about it? You know what I mean? Like, I think it takes one in every friend group to start the conversation.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it takes with men. It's hard because I don't think there's there's a specific solution to solve this for men. Unfortunately, I think the way in which the world is heading, and with the ever growing competitiveness, there will be, and I hate saying this, but there will be a nature effect that comes in where we can't remove ourselves from survival of the fittest. And what that means is there's always going to be a hierarchy in place.
Mhm.
But thankfully now the hierarchy can still live on. So if you're at the bottom of the chain societally, whatever that means, maybe you don't have the best physical attributes. And again, this is all subjective, based on what society says is valuable. You can still procreate and have a family. 200,000 years ago, you'd be kind of eating out of the gene pool.
Yeah. It's a different
So
story back then in the cave. When
yeah,
you're your skin that you took off a pig and you have your spear. Different
so
society.
yeah, like these are modern age problems that like we'll solve in time,
Yeah.
but we can't turn away from the fact that they're there and that they're normal.
Mhm.
And that you're not crazy for feeling any certain way. I think that's the biggest thing, telling people you're not crazy, because you
Yeah.
feel crazy. You feel like you're going loco. When you're sitting in that, and I think you touched on it as well, when you were sitting in that on that bathroom floor, I'd say like one of the things that's gone off your mind, like, why am I feeling like this? I'm fucking crazy. Like, am I crazy? Is there something
Oh
wrong?
yeah. Why, what's wrong with me? Why is this happening? Like I, at the time physically, was in probably like not at my strongest ever, but like I was like physically in a very good position strength wise. And I was like, strength is there,
Yes,
but why do I feel so weak right now mentally? Like
100%.
it makes
That was
sense.
big with me as well. It's like, but I'm on paper, I'm doing everything that I know
Yeah.
I should be doing. So then you're like, I don't want to feel this way. And if you were to come up to me and say, well, you just need to train more, I am.
Yeah. It's like
And
I
then
have
it's
a
like,
200 kg deadlift, but why am
yeah,
I on the floor crying?
exactly. This is
What's wrong
conflict.
with me?
This is conflict where A and B don't make C. And for men, we just can't compute that. We can't compute that at all. We're like, but I'm doing this. Why the fuck is this happening? And then our frustration kicks in as men, and we can exacerbate problems. And there's a lot more to the male psyche
Oh yeah.
that is neurotic, I feel, than the female psyche. I feel. But again, that's a generalization and might not always be true.
Yeah, yeah.
From what I've seen and what I've experienced through clients, it seems to be. Um, it seems to be the case, but it's hard either way. It's hard being a man or a woman.
Oh yeah, of course. I
They
mean,
both have their pros and their cons in some ways.
yeah, for sure.